When I get any younger, when I get any younger.
That's how you want to look?
When I get any younger.
Working with what we have.
It doesn't scoot in a little more? The actual...
Oh.
Yeah, if you can scoot it in. Oh, yeah, there you go. No. Because it's going to, it's sideways. I'm talking about, like, can you scoot this in and lock it in position a little more closer in? Or does it do that?
Not sure.
I kind of did a little bit.
Okay.
Your boy DJ Rowe. You're listening to Anna's Book Club.
Historical book club.
Historical book club.
Yeah. Oops. Okay. Got my microphone.
Yes,
Hey everybody.
Yes.
Time for the historical book club. But okay. Congratulations to Get Out.
Yes, I heard.
Yeah, Jordan Peele won Best Original Screenplay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been following that here at the Historical Book Club because we're Get Out fans.
Yes. Definitely Get Out fans. Woo.
And I think screenplay was a perfect choice because I think it's going to be beside the reasons that people are uncomfortable watching it, the bad reasons, I think it's also just gonna take some time. I think it's like Pulp Fiction. I think it's meant to be a great cult movie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I can see it that way. I think it was different. It was a little different in how they did it.
Yeah, it didn't have the sweepingness of something that I would think of as being a Best Picture, but I didn't see the Best Picture, which I usually don't. It just, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's a tremendous compliment to have a film be a cult film.
Right.
So,
I wonder if he's going to make any more.
Well,
now that he's started it, now he has to, just like most cult films, every couple of years you got to come on with something.
Well, yeah. Well, he probably has other stuff he probably has other stuff he's worked on over the years that he can get produced now. Hopefully.
Yeah, man. I would love to see him do something with Quentin Tarantino. That would be a good mixture right there. Just the way he did that movie with that Quentin Tarantino kind of gore comedy to it. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Quentin's making a film about about Charles Manson.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
The way I said that was kind of crazy, but in a sense, because he's making a movie, it's gonna be weird.
I don't want him to. I don't like his stuff being real. I don't like movies about horrible stuff that's real. That's like factual sort of real. Right. So that's why I love horror stuff like Get Out, because it's real but not real.
Right. So, I mean, so that's going to be a little bit different from him because that's actually a real story. So I wonder if he's going to try to, be real with it. Is he going to change up, or is he going to still keep it the same way like he did with
I don't know. Yeah.
I hope he keeps it the same way because it'll probably be a little weird if he tries to be serious with it.
I think particularly in this day and age, it's always sucked that somebody like Manson becomes that people see him as sort of heroic or something. So that's bad enough. So if you got Quentin picking it up and turning him into a film too, and, we got the upsurge of Nazism and all of that in our country, So we'll see.
Do you like Rob Zombie movies? Do you know who Rob Zombie is? You don't know who he is?
He makes zombie movies?
No, but he used to be a rocker. He was like a hardcore rocker, Rob Zombie.
No.
But he makes scary movies. Or he got into making scary movies, which are actually pretty good. But I thought you might have heard of him, but you haven't heard of him so long.
You know, see, I don't like... Okay, see, I loved Black Panther. I loved the idea. I loved the whole thing. But I just couldn't even sit through it. I got bored.
With Black Panther? How? Explain this.
The same thing happened to me with Wonder Woman. I couldn't sit through Wonder Woman either. I don't like superhero movies. I don't like superhero movies. They've always just bored me. I
can understand that. I mean, if you're into the comic books and stuff like that, you'll probably you would like it a little bit more. Yeah. I can kind of see that in some ways.
I've never been into comic books ever, or superheroes, or Star Wars or anything. Or I'm just not.
I don't know. So. That's one of my weird things is the people of Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars is good. Yeah. But I don't know. I just can't see. I think the same thing about Harry Potter. It's like I just really don't understand how you can go there dressed like a stormtrooper or a wizard. I can't do that.
Well, the thing about I love the books and. Because the books, okay, here's a really cool thing about real and unreal and fear. Because I think the reason why so many great children's books have this fear and intensity to them is because being a kid is scary. And it doesn't matter if you have the most secure dream family at all. You still go through fear as a kid with like going out on your own. So that's why so many really great kids books have kids on their own. And so that's very much what Harry Potter is like, and a lot. I loved stuff when I was like that when I was a kid and as an adult, where real kids get into magic and all of that, because they were such real characters. They're wonderful characters. So, again, for me, it has the real, unreal thing, and then when they start the political persecution and all that in Harry Potter, I mean, that's real as hell.
I know, but just...
You didn't read the books.
I didn't really read the books.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I did.
Well, it's real in the books.
Why? So it's a little more realistic, or they make it seem more realistic in the book? Because, I mean, the movie to me...
Well, you like that sort of thing, or you don't. Like, for me, that is real. That is real to me. So when you for me, it's real within the terms of the book. So, and a movie's good in a different way. Like, you'll never get me to do an either or thing at all. I mean, I think it's a shame if anybody, and unfortunately, it's true that people will be like, "Oh, I saw the movie," and you're just missing out. But
so you didn't like the Avengers or none of those other with the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, Thor?
No interest in it whatsoever. I thought Black Panther. Well, I don't know. I mean, Black Panthers is important historically and culturally, and so I wanted to go see it.
So what bored you about Black Panther?
I just don't connect to. I mean, the same thing that bores me with Wonder Woman and the Avengers and all of that.
So you're just not into the superhero?
No, I've never been interested in superheroes. I don't know. Maybe because heroes aren't that interesting to me. I like flawed people.
Well,
I like flaws. Yeah.
They all started from flaws. Spider-Man, all the rest of them.
Yeah.
They just tuned into their flaws, and when they realize what they can do,
then they're superheroes?
Then they're superheroes. But I think that's like real life, Some people may have flaws, but some of them tune into it.
Well, stuff's real in different ways. And, I mean, back to positivity, I mean, that's another reason it's just wonderful that there is a film like Black Panther now that people can connect to, that so many people connect with it. And... that's why I'm just like voracious on media and all of that to connect with stuff. Okay, so yeah, and then So speaking of political persecution, we can swing into Zimbabwe. Okay, do we have maps up?
Yes.
Okay, Zimbabwe.
My lovely host, Anna, who gives me these pictures an hour before the show.
I know, an hour before. Sorry.
I always crack up at this. You're not the only one that everybody does this to me. I'm like, dude, you guys got to get me.
Yeah.
So I get it a week so I can prep it, which... Yeah, let me see. If
It's okay. It's okay.
No. We have it.
That's it.
That's the one.
Yeah, we have a couple. We have a couple.
We have a few maps.
Okay, so we've been following Emerson Mnangawa, the new president of Zimbabwe, also known as the crocodile.
Ooh.
Yeah. When I was sending you his picture, I was starting to write crocodile.
I actually have his picture. Which one?
There's.
I don't think it's this one.
So he's now been in office for 100 days, and he just published an article in the New York Times saying that Zimbabwe is open for business. And in this article, he committed to having elections in 2018.
Now, open for business.
Open for investment.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm just curious what he meant. Okay.
Yeah. Which I mean, he was at the Davos summit this year, and we talked about this on the last podcast, and he was a second, and he was very close to Robert Mugabe, and so it's been thought that he was also played a role in the repression. In all the political repressions in Zimbabwe. So that's been the question, like, is he going to follow up with that? And in Davos, he was very evasive when he was asked about whether there would be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to go back and look at the wrongs that people experienced in Zimbabwe. But in the New York Times today, he said that he would set up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So that's a big deal. That means they could be going back over the people that were wronged. But there's also been a lot of disputes. Somebody was just a member of the opposition was just thrown in jail for criticizing former President Mugabe, okay, so that was. I'm just looking to see what else I have about Zimbabwe. Okay, so former President Mugabe, has not been laying low. He's been going around, like, meeting with people and all that. Like, my God, the dude is like 94. Okay, see, that's one of the things. A lot of people I know were at the state Democratic convention this year, and we're complaining about Dianne Feinstein running again for Senate.
Oh, wow,
She's 84, and I'm like, the problem is there's other problems with it, but I'm like, hey, there's people that are ready to go at 84. I mean,
right.
Okay, so then the problem that I see with the Truth and Reconciliation Committee is that there's still white farmers trying to get their land back, and I disagree with them being involved in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, all that, because I don't view that as a human rights abuse or anything of the sort. Mm-hmm. So, Mugabe took, after, because Zimbabwe declared independence from Great Britain in 1965 when it was still Rhodesia, but it was still ruled by white people until 1980. Okay, when Mugabe took control. And so that's the reason why for a while people were very positive about Mugabe. People believed that he was going to be the future. And that's why it can be very difficult for people to criticize him. And so in the 90s, they took a bunch of white farm people's land and redistributed it. And the problem was they didn't have the resources to farm very well, and so there was crop failures and all of that. But you know, I'm like, you people are still hanging around trying to get your land back? That's pathetic. I'm like, okay, if my grandparents stole something, I would want it to go back to the right person. So that's what's up in Zimbabwe.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's just some real disagreements about, you know, I guess the press is still not free in Zimbabwe. And so, I mean, basically the crocodile wants to get investors in there. And, you know, but again, I mean, committing to holding free and fair elections in 2018 is great. Okay, so speaking of fair and free elections, there's been a lot going on over in Kenya. Kenya's had a lot of problems with elections over the past several years, and in the fall there's supposed to be an election between Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, the opposition leader. And before the election, the person that was in charge of election, who was in charge of making the elections like fair, the person that was like the mastermind brain that was at the very top of all the stuff you need to do, that had the codes and all of that for the ballots and all of that, was kidnapped and tortured to death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, it's not considered so Kenyatta won, but, you know, I don't think, and many people don't think that was very fair. So, his opponent, Raila Odinga, had his own inauguration. Like, so some of this is just theatrics, but it was, you know, I mean, it's a real concern about what's going to happen. And then a few days ago, Kenyatta and Odinga met and came out and said that they had agreed to peacefully work this out. So
that's good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So Kenya, I don't have Kenyan friends on here now, but you know, you guys, we exchange messages, so we're thinking of you, Kenya.
You heard it first. Anna's Historical Book Club.
That's right.
Shouts out to Kenya.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the other things that we've talked about is Catalonia, and we got the map, the part of. Oh no, that's another one of the maps there, and that's the part of Spain. It's not here. Those are the two African ones. Okay. I'm not sure where the Spain one with. Oh, this is the Spain one. It's no, it's there it is. Okay, so Catalonia is the part of Spain where Barcelona is, and so they've been wanting to secede, and that vote took place 5 months ago, and not much has happened. And so I was just there's just been a march this week, but it's not like it was before at all.
Right.
And okay, this was bad because a couple weeks ago, I fell for this. People declared an imaginary country. People declared that they were the country of Tarbania and that they were going to succeed from Catalonia, and were having like some sort of march and protest. I fell for it. I thought it was real.
So they were playing?
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It's a fictional country.
Okay. I thought maybe they might have. You know how some group could have rebelled and tried to make their own little country.
Well, that's what I thought had happened. I believed it, and I even posted it on Facebook, and so now I realize.
So they were joking.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, dumb American. I'm trying.
That's it. I'm moving to Tarbania now.
That's right.
I'm gone.
That's right. Because so here's a quote from a very smart friend, because we've just talked about a lot about one of our themes is, you know, new nations, separatism, nationalism, and all of that.
Right.
So, okay, so here's something I read about that I thought was interesting. If separation were supported, but this is by a professor, by all Catalans, I would still be opposed. It would still be dangerous and disruptive, but whereas separatism is driven by Catalan nationalism, I think it is a mistake to equate unionism with Spanish nationalism. Unionism is inclusive, whereas separatism is exclusionary. So we talk about nationalism, and there's a lot of people that have a problem with nationalism and believe that it's destructive. And I like to break that sort of stuff down, because nationalism can be and is oftentimes a front for racism and xenophobia. But I mean, I like to look at.
And for the people who don't know, what exactly is nationalism?
Well, that's one of the things, like belief in your country. That's, you know, and that's what is like. There's an election going on right now. Well, that has been going on in Italy, where the far right is getting a lot of mileage over there by being talking. When they talk about Italian nationalism, it's a code for it, you know, because Italy is experiencing, a lot of people are very anti-migrant. And before we say bad Italy, I want to point out that, this refugees, migrants, all of that, it should be everyone's problem. The world should want to help, but a country like Italy's right there, like basically they have a lot of migrants landing there because they're on the coast, and it's, you know, and so there is disruption to people's lives, and so I think that it can be very easy to criticize them when our lives are not being disrupted. So
right.
Yeah, you know, it's because they live on the coast. They need to deal with it, you know, and the fact that, you know, the migrants, you know, I mean, it's always the people it's the people in charge that need to try and deal with this problem. But people in villages, you know, feel like things have changed for them. People right there on the coast.
Right.
So, but what that plays into, of course, is another one of, bringing it back to the U.S. is how nationalism here, what it means here. That means, you know, anti-immigrant, U.S. strong and all that. That's what it. So, there's a lot going on with that politically right now, and I've been looking at some of this stuff historically, like in the 1930s, there was anti-immigrant fever, like manufactured
Right.
because people were depressed economically and they want to blame other people for that, so they can be like, and now, I mean, you know, you have different leaders manipulating anti-immigrant sentiment, basically. I mean, it's so, I don't know. I mean, it's unfortunate because being proud of your country shouldn't mean that you don't think other people are any good.
Right. There's a lot of people like that too. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are like that, but
Yeah, because okay, so this is crazy. Okay, because he's gone now. But our president was in California today.
yes, I heard.
I keep trying to figure out if there were any elected officials even there. I mean, since when does the president visit a state? The governor wasn't there. The senators weren't there.
I mean, man, over the whole little the alien, the illegal alien issues and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, man, you know about the whole little thing with Oakland, right?
Oh,
with
yeah.
The mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I don't know how that's weird, man. I don't know what to say, man. I give props to California for standing up, though. They don't, what I'm saying? California's not backing down.
Yeah. Yeah, and then a guy that worked for ICE just quit because he said he couldn't handle being told to lie anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I mean the problem is that they need to a legal solution needs to be figured out.
Right,
and it doesn't help. Hysteria is never helpful, and it doesn't help to keep, this is just what the politicians and advocates and everybody does. It doesn't help to keep showing sad videos of families being ripped apart. Like, yes, it's terrible. But I feel like we elect people come to the table with a solution.
Right.
Okay, so we can talk about a solution, because I'm sort of like, and I don't know what's fair or what's right or anything, and so I just feel like for me, my personal feeling is, it's not my country. I don't care I don't care who's here, but the government has a right to make those laws. And
right. To a degree.
Well, the government has a right to make laws about immigration.
Right.
In and of itself. And so the problem is you need to try and get in there and legislate to try and have things be fair and just.
Yeah, you just gotta be. I don't know. I think the way that Trump went about it is a little. He didn't go about it in the right way. When he started off with the wall, which rubbed everybody wrong, and it's like ever since then, it's like
because I just watched a documentary about deportation under Obama. Obama deported a lot of people.
Right.
Like, more than the previous two presidents than him combined. Mm-hmm. And so it was a documentary that was made a couple years ago, and I was watching somebody being asked about it, and they're saying like, President Obama is deporting all these people, and the spokesperson said, the president is following the law. Which is true, which was true, and he certainly, politically, he wouldn't have wanted that to get
right.
That was the right, correct answer for him politically, but
I just think that the way Trump does it, he comes off in a bad way. He doesn't. He's not good at how. I believe like this, and I tell everybody this, when it comes to politics, the government, and the military, that they shouldn't tell everybody. I hate to say it like this, but they shouldn't tell everybody everything.
I know, I agree.
And if they do, you don't have to get into explanations. Like, Trump seems like sometimes he just, like, he's a barbarian about it. They gotta go. We have to take all, instead of him kind of just, if he wanted to do things, just kind of do it, but do it in a little more discreet manner, instead of just like, well, you all have to go. If you're illegal, you just got to go.
Yeah.
You got to take, and it causes stuff when you do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are really mad. They understand the situation, but it's how he's doing it.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, how it's more of how he's doing it and how he's coming across than it is him actually doing what he's trying to do.
Yeah, and however, and Congress had 8 years under President Obama to try and do something about it, and to try and pass immigration reform. And this is one of the things where I disagree with the bad, mean Congress didn't pass this, or like was so terrible to Obama and stuff like that. I'm like, no, okay, I blame them both equally. I blame them both equally. If two people,
right.
if you can't, it takes both sides, okay? And so if they both failed.
Right.
So that's when a dispute cannot be settled, then both sides have failed. So I mean, it's really sad. I mean, it makes me very sad that we had that there was a chance to try and enact legislation that would take some steps toward solving the problem, and a lot of people wouldn't. A lot of people wouldn't have liked parts of it, and, because you can't do something everybody's going to be like. But, as it happens, we have nothing.
Right. And, you heard about the other thing he was trying to do with the whole little, with people who are on, like, food stamps and welfare.
Give them back baskets of food or something?
Yeah. See, I mean, you see how I'm saying how he comes off to people? I mean, I don't know. See, like I said, that's kind of an iffy situation. I've never had to do it. I've been lucky to work and stuff, so I've never had to deal with the EBT stuff.
Yeah.
And I've actually been to stores where people try to sell their stamps.
Yeah.
And
it's gotten a lot harder to do that.
Yeah. So, but I just don't know the way he did it. He's coming off with this. Okay, we'll just instead of that, we'll give you guys
and it's
food.
It's like 0.1% of the budget or something like that. Trying to mess around with the EBT system, it'll cost you more money to change it than it would to
So. That's what he's looking at, man. That's what it's coming down to. People are gonna start having, instead of getting $200 or $300, $400 for their cars, they're going to get $300 or $400 worth of food shipped to them.
That's not going to happen. There's too much, because there's too much industry. I mean, businesses. I mean, stores aren't going to go for that. They want people to come shop. So. Yeah. Okay, so I just want to jump back to Catalonia, because one of the reasons that Catalonia is interesting, that I was interested in, is because of a book called Homage to Catalonia, which is by George Orwell, and it's about the Franco War, the war in Spain, where people were fighting fascism, and this took place in the 1930s. And there was a lot of people that came over from the United States and from Great Britain to try and fight fascism, and the people in the U.S. were called the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. But so here's a quote from George Orwell, the English writer. The anarchists were still in virtual control of Catalonia, and the revolution was still in full swing. It was the first time I'd ever been in a town where the working class was in the saddle. Every wall was scrawled with the hammer and sickle, the communist sign. Every shop and cafe had an inscription saying that it had been collectivized. Tipping was prohibited by workers themselves, and servile forms of speech, such as senor, were abandoned. And so it's a really sad book, but because Franco, the bad guys win.
Right.
Yeah. So, but so as far as Catalonia right now, I think we probably are ready to put the topic put the topic to rest. There's not too much more to say about Catalonia. It doesn't seem like much is going to happen there. So, okay, let's take a break.
Alrighty. This is Anna.